This is Ranzi, and I want to talk today about the complex carbohydrates. I've been noticing within the raw foods community that there are some people who are suggesting that if you can't get fruit for your carbohydrates, that you can eat an abundance of complex carbohydrates to get the same calories and energy that you would get from fruit. But I want to point out something that people may take this to mean that they should be baking potatoes, white potatoes, and who knows, maybe even some people think that you can eat French fries as long as, you maybe make them yourself and don't use oils and stuff. But I personally would not do that. And there is a lot of research out there talking about acrylamides. And so I think we need to be aware of this even when eating whole plant foods, because some plant foods would be better than others. For example, at the University of Stockholm in Sweden in 2002, they did an experiment on what's called acrylamides. And the first part of their study, they looked very closely at high cooking temperatures on white potato, a starchy complex carbohydrate. And what they found was that when potatoes are cooked at high temperatures, even in something that we would think would be fine, such as baked potatoes, when baked potatoes are cooked for a long time at a high temperature, there is a plastic-like coating that forms around the food substance, and that was termed acrylamide. And that plastic-like coating called acrylamide is carcinogenic, causes cancer. And so if there is going to be some cooked complex carbohydrates in the diet, we would really need to research and know which foods that are complex starches that are cooked are appropriate to eat, and we certainly would not want to be eating those foods that are cooked at high temperatures. So this really needs to be specified. So with white potatoes should never be cooked in the oven or fried or sautéed. They should be only steamed or boiled if eaten at all. And so I really wanted to point that out, that we need to understand before we can just say that we can replace fruit with complex carbohydrates. We need to look at cooking temperatures and how they're being eaten. If somebody does not want to go to a totally raw diet, emphasizing fruits and vegetables, then certainly eating some of the foods that can be cooked at lower temperatures and cooked on the stovetop, such as steamed vegetables, sweet potato, those kind of foods would certainly be acceptable. But when we bake a potato or other foods and you get that browning that gives the food that crunch that everybody loves so much, that is the acrylamide that I'm talking about. And so we want to really avoid that. I think that the study that started at the University of Stockholm and ended up being taken over by the World Health Organization certainly points out some very important research that we need to be taking into concern before adding any kinds of complex starches to the diet. So thank you. And again, I emphasize a diet of predominantly fruits and vegetables loaded with wonderful sprouts. I love sunflower sprouts, small amounts of nuts and seeds, and loads of green leafy vegetables.